Evening.
Good evening, Gary. How you doing, chap?
Oh, evening, Richard.
Good evening, Dan. Dan, you look tired. Good evening, James.
Yes, as it has been pointed out to me, I look like Riker in the episode Frame of Mind.
Which is one of my favourite episodes. I know a lot of people think Frame of Mind's a bit of filler, but I generally, it's one of my favourites. I think it's a fantastic episode. Thoroughly enjoyed it.
So yeah, I please excuse me this week. I am feeling a little bit run down, a little bit not brilliant. So
I must confess also, I had an intense afternoon of football and I'm pissed.
oh yes, your team didn't win, did they? Well, they won, but they didn't win.
Yes, but gosh, up until the 80th minute, it was. I've never actually felt in danger of having a heart attack before. It was almost too much for me to bear. It was a very exciting afternoon of football, and I compensated with alcohol, which is now having some sort of weird effect on my ability to talk and stuff.
Hello, James.
Hello, boys. Sorry about the technical issues, but this blew up and it doesn't have any sound on it, so I'm using my laptop.
Define blew up.
Well, it went fizzed.
Oh, actual hardware problem. Did you pour a drink over it?
Sadly, I hadn't got that far.
Well, you should
But I did
probably
change the fuse, and that didn't make any difference. So I guess I'm in the market for some new speakers.
try pouring some water over them.
Okay,
Have you
I'll try that later.
Have you tried to hit it yet?
Percussive maintenance. I'm going to have a go maybe later.
Is what I'm at the moment. I've unfortunately sliced my fingers. I'm unable to play my guitar tonight, I'm afraid. So there'll be no song. Good evening, the lovely Victoria. So lovely.
Good evening.
Good evening, Legs Open Val.
Party Val.
Party Val, is that her name? Party Val.
I know you're going to sing. Are we going to sing
Val.
Are we going to sing Valerie to her?
Oh, Valerie. Which version?
Won't you come over, Valerie?
Apparently
Everybody
there's a
knows the Zootons version is
I've got to
best.
play percussion now because I can't play my guitar.
Christoph, evening.
I don't have any bongos.
Martine.
Well, hi, Martin.
No.
Who's ready for my cowbell solo?
Go on. James. James. Don't you have two small children that are probably in bed?
Yeah, but they're not asleep.
James, I've told you this before. Why have you got a cowbell? How are you supposed to play it without a cow?
I'm building up to owning a cow.
Fair enough.
Okay, right. So
do you have a pasture?
Yeah. There are the three of us today, not the four. So the Northern Collectible contingent is not with us.
You have to have a pasture to put a cow on, otherwise you can't.
My uncle used to have a pet cow. Its name was Wendy, and that upset my mother because that also is her name.
Do you have a milking stool in preparation?
All right. To make this slightly Star Trek related, when is a cow used in Star Trek? I know the answer.
Is it in the episode where Riker romances that Irish lady?
No. That's not the one I'm thinking of. I'm thinking of when Harry Kim uses the holodeck to turn. Tom Paris uses the holodeck to turn a lady into a cow, just as Harry Kim was about to kiss her in one of the Fairhaven episodes. They've turned her into a cow.
Oh yes.
Well, speaking as an Irishman, I find them terribly racist. I can't watch the Fairhaven episodes.
I like the Fairhaven. So when at the last convention we were at, Destination Star Trek London, there was a marvelous lady who posed as the deleted wife, and she was dressed as a Fairhaven character, just with a sign around her that said "the deleted wife." It was not. Do you remember her? She was
fantastic. Yes,
she was amazing. She was a nice lady.
Let's have a look. Paul's in.
Hi, Paul.
What ho, Paul. Tidy. Oh.
There's a lot of acronyms going on there, Martin.
Don't wait. No, because it is good, but they are releasing shortly. I think it's the next couple of months. The motion picture director's cut in 4K. So hold fire, unless you want to watch it twice in a year, which is too much for anyone for the motion picture. Can you borrow you for honky tonk woman. He hasn't got a cow yet. He's got the pasture ready and the milking stool. But
Okay, so let's do what have we been watching this week in Trek apart from Strange New Worlds? Because obviously we're going to talk Strange New Worlds episode 2 because we're doing it a week in arrears, so we'll do that in a little bit.
So what are we talking about?
What else have you watched Trek-wise this week?
Well, nothing, obviously.
I'm still on season 2 of Voyager.
Okay.
And I just watched. It was a weird episode where they tried to make a pact with the Kazon, and then the Kazon tried to blow. The Tribune that used to oppress the Kazon tried to blow up a meeting. It was a bit of an odd one, if I'm honest with you. I think it was an important one because they had to decide, are they going to follow the Prime Directive or not? Janeway very nearly decided they weren't. So it was kind of like, I think for the tone for the rest of the entire series, I think it was important, but it was a bit of a, it felt like it should have been 2 episodes, really. It was a lot crammed into one that didn't make a lot of sense.
I think Voyager sort of did the Kazon quite a disservice. It could have been such a better baddie arc, and it just ended up as, Seska versus Chakotay's personal vendetta race.
Well, they didn't look Mexican enough, but I think what they tried to do.
You wanted 60s era Klingons, did you?
Yeah, I mean, what I liked about this episode is they showed that the Kazon weren't inherently bad. They were kind of made this way because they were oppressed, and it kind of it gave the Kazon a backstory, which I liked about this episode because they never had one. But that backstory was never touched upon again after this episode, so it was kind of a little bit pointless. But I enjoyed it. It's good.
Fair enough.
They weren't impressed so much as just lacking in water, weren't they?
No, so they were. I can't forget. So they were once
bizarre for a spacefaring race.
No, they were the underclass of the. I want to say Tribble. I can't remember them, but they were the underclass of a very advanced civilization, or basically used for slave labor. Kind of like you've got the Romulans, and they've got the
Remans.
The Remans, yeah. So the Kazons were kind of like the Reman version of the Romulans. Yeah, the Trabe. That's it, Paul. The Trabe. So the Trabe kept them as slave labor. Hey, what ho, Linda? The Trabe kept them as slave labor, and then they kind of revolted and stole their technology and ships and went about being mean to people, basically, which is understandable given the situation they were in.
The peasants are revolting, my lord.
Yeah, quite. But it's kind of a shame they didn't follow that through. But hey, we were rid of the Kazon by I think season 3, so it wasn't important.
I mean, there was quite a few alien races in Voyager that could have been expanded on and used quite a bit more and weren't. And Voyager just went through this sort of weird phase of the Kazon, the Borg. That was about it. Oh, Species 8472, and that was about it. It's.
Oh, and don't forget the buggers that had the phage as well. I mean, it was difficult because the Vidians, yeah. The point was with Voyager, it was gonna be Monster of the Week, so they were traveling through space, not looking back, so they couldn't have a recurring enemy as such. And that's what forced them to keep it fresh. That's what I liked about Voyager. That's what I still like about Voyager.
I really liked the Vardois as the ones that were sleeping and they resurrected them. It turns out they were actually bad guys. I really like them.
Vardois sounds like a kind of French wine, doesn't it?
I really like them as a bad guy. And there's the episode, the Voyager episode I really like with the bad guy is the one who makes them think it's a ship from Starfleet when it isn't. It's like a huge holodecky type thing.
Oh, the Prometheus.
Yeah, tries to take them back to the Borg.
I mean, my favourite one is the 2-parter with the Krenim, with the actor from RoboCop. I've forgotten his name now.
Year of Hell.
Yeah, Year of Hell with the Krenim, with the actor from RoboCop. That genuinely, that could have been a film. They could have made a Voyager film out of those 2 episodes. That was superb.
It was meant to be a whole season arc, actually, Richard. They were planning to do it for a whole season as a one-off, and for some reason didn't.
Paul says it would have been cool to see them again, as they had the ability to see them again, as they had transport conduits, which is
Well, that was the thing. It was if you're pointing a ship home and traveling at warp speed, you're not going to encounter the same people again and again, and that's kind of where the canon and everything tripped up a bit with Voyager. But I thought, on the whole, the reason they did it for was to force them to keep it fresh worked. So I enjoyed it. And I still think, for me personally, after TNG, Voyager is my favourite series, even before Deep Space Nine.
Fair enough. What have you been watching this week then, James?
Nothing really. I haven't watched any other Star Trek. Sorry.
Right.
I did watch Strange New Worlds twice, though, on the basis that I was too drunk the first time to remember it.
Excellent. Okay, so
I did that on the plane, obviously, when I flew over.
Yes.
James, remember we're talking about episode 2.
Yes, I know we're talking about episode 2, but if you're asking me what I've been watching, that's the only other thing I have been watching.
So we will be discussing Strange New Worlds in depth very shortly. So if you haven't seen it or you don't want spoilers, we'll tell you when to sort of tune off and come back and watch us again after you've watched it. I've been watching Deep Space Nine. Started sort of a little seasonally rewatch around season 2 and just had it sort of on in the office at work while you've been doing stuff. Again, gets better every time you rewatch DS9. Really does.
You pick up the little nuances, don't you, in Deep Space? Because Deep Space Nine was the first one that really pushed the sociological limits of Star Trek, and they got involved with religion and politics and things like that, which they never did before. And you pick up on that, and it creeps in gradually. And it's done very well. You know, you can't argue with how they do it.
I've been rewatching. It seems to be every time I sort of pay any attention, it's on in the background, it's sort of playing, but whenever I'm paying attention, it seems to be a very Garak-focused episode. And there's some really good ones. I mean, I've just seen the one where he blew up his own shop. And previously, the last one I paid any attention to was The Wire, which again is another great episode.
Well, Scorpio is a very good actor. I think whenever he's in an episode of DS9, he can't not steal the show. You know, that's he's got that gravitas. He really has. You know, he's got those eyes. He's got that intense kind of look about him, and almost what's the point in having him step in for an episode if he's not going to be the star of it? You know.
Yes.
I mean, and again, we get criticised for not being 100% Star Trek route there, but if you're going to have a criticism of Deep Space Nine, the one I did have, and I still have, was Garak's character was written and was supposed to be gay, and sadly at the time didn't happen, and that would have made a lot of sense for his character and the friendships he made and how it could have linked in well. It's a shame they didn't have the balls to do it.
Yeah, at the time the networks weren't ready for that, and
exactly that. Yeah.
So it is unfortunate, but so yes. Well, let's have a chat about some other stuff that's going on. We are, I believe, 50 days away from London Film and Comic Con, which is the sort of next thing that I'm going to. So.
Well, James won't be at London Film and Comic Con because he's otherwise engaged.
Yes, he's
I'm
busy.
not 100% certain if I'm going to be able to attend or not. I'm hoping to be there for at least one day and one night. What's happening at London Film and Comic Con?
One weekend I had plans. One weekend, and it had to be that one.
And some great guests, though, this year.
Yeah.
I mean, just looking through the guest list now, Alex Kingston, Robbie Coltrane.
So, wait, hang on. Alex Kingston's going?
Yeah.
Is she the one with the hair from Doctor Who?
Yes.
Dr. Corday?
Back when Doctor Who was really good.
Yes. Amanda Tapping.
Small, that's the character.
Amanda Tapping, who I'm looking forward to seeing. Karen Allen.
Mole Flanders is going.
Greg Clark, Chris Lloyd.
Chris Lloyd, as in Back to the Future, Christopher Lloyd.
Christopher Lloyd, yeah. Stephen Amell. So Arrow.
Alex Kingston is going. I mean,
yes.
What days is she going to be there?
All, I believe.
I really want her DNA.
Ernie Hudson.
Ernie Hudson?
Yeah. Who did I see a rumor that Ernie Hudson's going to be in the new?
He's in Quantum Leap. The new Quantum Leap, yes. He's back at Quantum Leap Base.
Oh, not as Winston then in Quantum Leap. 'Cause
Winston from Ghostbusters in Quantum Leap.
that'd be brilliant. Yeah.
I don't get paid enough for this.
And Clarence Gilyard Jr. is going as well.
Who on earth is that?
He was Theo in Die Hard.
Clarence, that's not a name you hear very often anymore, is it?
It isn't. It's one of those.
Clarence,
yeah.
bring around the little tank.
This gentleman.
Oh,
So,
he's
yeah.
the IT guy.
He's the IT guy.
And the quarterback is toast.
But there is a plethora of guests going this year.
We got, that's Mole Flanders. Oh, Stephen Amell's there.
I just said that.
So I would like to.
Where is LFCC this year, Dan? Which venue?
DNA.
Olympia.
Oh, I like Olympia, although it does get monstrously hot.
I've got to be honest with you. I want Alex Kingston's DNA. I want Stephen Amell's DNA. Oh, Sophie Aldred has already sat on my lap and had a giggle. So
Chris Barry, lovely guy.
Chris Barry
Hi.
and I go way back. Who else we got there?
Oh, the Stay Puft Marshmallow Man is coming.
How is there? Whoa! What? The freakishly tall lady from Evil Dead is going to be there. Resident Evil is going to be there.
Yes.
Who's that?
Scroll up. Oh, Zoe Wanamaker's going to be there. I've got
Philip Glenster.
Fire up the Quattro, Dan.
Indeed. Yeah.
Oh,
Still
Bernard Cribbins. Oh, Sylvester McCoy. He's a nice chap.
Bernard Cribbins, he's back on set for Doctor Who, filming with David Tennant. That's so
Yes.
exciting.
He's a great actor.
As we can see, they have got.
Colin Baker lives just around the corner from us, James.
Does he?
Yeah.
I
They
had
have
to
got
escort him to the toilet once. Long story.
a plethora of guests.
Yeah. So, I mean, if we were to attend under the Trekkies Let's Talk Trek Talk thing badge, do you think I could get some sort of access to Alex Kingston and her hair?
Unfortunately, as you've just told me, is what you're planning to do. I imagine that the powers that be are watching this, and now it's promptly putting you on the banned list. So.
Well, if you're
Let's not
watching
kid
this,
ourselves, they're watching us. They've got better things to be doing.
Can you, someone start reading that comments? I'll put them up on the screen. Thank you.
yeah. So, Halbjorn Sujor Gordison says Alex Kingston love emoji. Christopher Leichner says River soon.
No, not soon. Song.
Wouldn't no? He spelled it soon because he's obviously saying she'd be brilliant in Star Trek, and she would be. Yep, Mole Flanders. Yes, watch a bit of Mole Flanders. Sadly, yet to be re-released in HD. Apparently, not that I've checked. Nadim, yes. Good evening. We're talking about the last time I went to see Kingston was supposed to be attending, but cancelled the day before. Well, if she knows I'm going, hopefully she will attend. Because do you know, I'd do pantomime for her.
You could just be the hair wrangler, couldn't you? You could wrangle her hairstyle off the bus.
I'd wash it for her.
Yeah. Maybe we turn you into a celebrity hairstylist, and that way you'll have free access to celebrity.
I used to cut hair. Genuinely, I did. I used to pay my way for university. I used to cut hair, and I used to iron shirts.
Fair enough. Well, at the moment, I am trying to grow my hair so I can have a very Anson Mount type quiff. That's what I'm going for. So, got some grey already going here, so I'm going to go for an Anson Mount sort of quiffiness.
Got to be at least 6 inches tall.
Yes.
Yeah.
But as you can see, I've started to horrendously go grey. So, yes. Right. So, Crystal says Alex Kingston's great. Met her at Vienna Comic Con. Also, her German is perfect. It's her second later plan.
Oh, das ist good.
Achtung!
Oh my God, I forgot how we've used to. All right, okay. Excellent. Right, moving on. Right, we'll do the warning, and then we're going to talk Strange New World.
Before we talk Strange New Worlds, I've got some exciting news about Stargazer.
Oh, go on then.
Has anyone else heard? Okay, so you hadn't heard this. I'm going to break it. So we were all very concerned that as sexy Mexican bearded man got killed off in Picard, there wasn't going to be a what's the actor's name?
Santiago Cabrera.
Cabrera, that's it. Santiago Cabrera. We thought he's not going to be in a Stargazer series because they killed him off. So there is going to be a Stargazer series happening, and it's going to be set in between season 1 and season 2 of Picard. It's going to be a bridging series. So there's going to be a Stargazer.
Where are you reading this from?
This is from my source. So this is going to be. This is generous. I've got a genuine bona fide. When have I ever made up? I never make up anything. Okay.
Well, we have heard that the Stargazer sets are repurposed as another ship for.
I've got this from a bona fide source. The Stargazer series is going ahead, and it's going to be a bridge between season 1 and 2 of Picard. And Santiago Cabrera is going to be in it as the captain of the Stargazer. So if you are worried about him not appearing, because we all love him, he's kind of like a more debonair Riker.
No, he's a swarthier Riker.
A more cigar-y Riker. So he's going to be coming in as the captain of the Stargazer, bridging the gap between Picard 1 and 2. So, yeah. Fantastic news for fans of Santiago Cabrera, which we all are.
Okay. I didn't even know that. Fair enough.
Well, I got it from one of my sources.
Okay, fair enough.
More exciting than that is the news that at the Platinum Party at the Palace, not only will the cast of Hello Hello, the surviving cast, reunite, but they will be sharing the stage with Bez from the Happy Mondays and Whizbit.
Wow. Okay.
So will Sue Hodge be there?
I expect so.
Because Sue Hodge has been doing Mimi's been doing a tour, a one person tour.
Right,
Mimi and Me, about her. This is a stage show about her time on Lower Low. I'd love to go and see it. Apparently, it's on in Knaresborough.
Let's do some more Trek talking. Did you see the news from Carl Urban this week about Star Trek 4?
Was he in Lower Low?
No, he did play.
He wasn't Judge Dredd though. That was really good.
He was very good.
And as we said last week, Richard, when it was me and Thee on the show, Carl Urban's portrayal of Bones.
Yeah,
and the way that,
can't speak highly enough. Yeah,
and the way that Ethan Peck has done Spock, it's that same sort of thing. It's fantastic. And he said apparently that Star Trek 4 is just now an issue of logistics, but it's definitely all sorted. They just all need to figure out where and when.
Again, I can do some report from my sources now. The linchpin for another Star Trek movie has been Chris Pine. He kind of thought his career was going to take off, and it hasn't done. He's doing straight to Amazon films, so he's decided another Star Trek's not a bad idea. The rest of the cast have been kind of waiting for that. It's going to happen, Don't get me wrong. I really like Chris Pine, and even his straight to Amazon rubbish he's done. There's not been great films, but he's been great in them, and I think he's deserved better roles. But yeah, apparently he's wound his neck in now and asking for less money so they can make the film. So fantastic, because he is the best Kirk reproduction we've had, hands down. Absolutely outstanding. He's about 1.2 tall, but he's amazing.
These two agree with each other.
Yo-Yo.
Yeah, he's absolutely. I mean, James is more of a fan of Judge Dredd than I am. I've more less in the comics. I read the Judge Dredd novels, but the kind of point if you follow if you follow 2000 AD, the point is the lead character Judge Dredd is always he's the supporting cast in every story. That's the point of him. So when you cast a film called Judge Dredd, You Are the Law, James, and you put Sylvester Stallone in it, you already know the film's going to fail because Judge Dredd is not meant to be the lead character in any Judge Dredd story. That's not the point of Judge Dredd. He's the supporting cast member. So that's why you
keeps the helmet on.
But when you cast Carl Urban as Judge Dredd, and then you have I've forgotten her name now from Lena Headey as the villain, then yeah, that's when it makes a bit more sense, because Carl Urban is meant to be the supporting cast member, Lena Headey as the villain is the star, and it makes more sense in the world of 2000 AD. But this is purely from someone who's not a judge as James is.
Well, yes, absolutely.
Are we going to talk about Strange New Worlds yet, or should we waffle some more?
Well, there's a couple more announcements. Star Trek Prodigy Supernova, the video game.
Plethora of announcements.
Yeah, the Star Trek video game that we talked about a little while ago. That's now got a release date of October, and that's going to be on multiple format consoles. So I'm going to try and.
Do you know what sort of game it's going to be?
Not yet. There is a couple of screenshots and stuff floating around and doing the routes. So there is. It looks a bit like the Star Wars games, if I'm honest.
To be fair, the whole season looked a lot like Clone Wars, so I wouldn't be surprised if it looking like a Star Wars game.
Let me just grab the screen grab that we've got, which is this one. So, sort of Star Wars-esque, I think, is the.
That looks like one man and his dog. What's happening there?
Not a clue.
Is that still on?
I think so.
Is it? When was the last time you saw it?
I haven't watched it for a while. I haven't needed to shepherd any sheep for some time now.
I used to love watching one man and his dog. I used to really enjoy that. And, do you remember that?
Come by, Shep.
No, genuinely, I'm not making. You think I'm making this up? This is absolutely true. Like, there used to be one man and his dog, followed by the National Caravan Parking Championships, where they had people parking reverse parking a caravan around. They said that on after the dog. On the BBC, you spend our money so wisely.
So let's do it. Let's talk about Strange New Worlds episode 2. I know Richard is very excited about this episode. So
I absolutely, from start to finish, this episode was a winner. I think one of the things I don't do subtle very well. One of the things I hate about Discovery is the representation is done wrong. In this episode of Star Trek Strange New Worlds, they did representation right. I mean, literally from start to finish. One of the things, the standout thing they've done is they've given some proper depth and flesh to a character who was just window dressing in the original series, and now they've given her a wonderful life of her own. And the actress that plays her, and I'm talking about her, you know, she's not as leggy as Michelle Nichols. Of course, she's not as pretty. She's a wonderful actress, but she's playing this dorky kind of cadet who's finding her way in her feet. She's not established yet. So they've cast her brilliantly. I thought it would get irritating, the whole, let's sing to the asteroid and it will save us. It will go do, 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 do. But they didn't string it out for too long. It was just for like a couple of minutes. It worked. It generally did work. It worked quite nicely. What they did with her character, what they did with, I forget his name now, the Andorian spin-off relative that's chief of engineering. I just loved everything they did. They did it right. You know, they did it just fantastically. They did it, they literally went, okay, this is what Discovery had been doing wrong, so we'll do it right. And it wasn't the representation was fantastic. It's what I want to see. That's what Star Trek. That's what got me into Star Trek. To see it done not just right, but so well. I was once again proud to be a Trekkie. Really was. Thank you so much for this episode. It was amazing.
Isn't it nice to have an ensemble cast where they all go and they're having dinner in the Pike's quarters, and it looks like they actually do get on with each other?
Yeah, I mean, it's
people. They're likable. Something that other shows, and I'll not mention any, completely fail at.
I just think it's fantastic. It's a wonderful screenshot, Dan. I love that. But I love the fact that I love the whole and don't the costumes. Doesn't the dress uniform look amazing? Doesn't Uhura's dress uniform look amazing? I love the fact that Pike someone said to me before this episode, how come Pike's got such a big quarters compared to everyone else? Well, so he can have dinner parties, obviously. It's like, that's the captain's table. You've got to be invited to it. It's fantastic.
It does slightly go against where we look at TOS and go, okay, well, let's look at Kirk's cabin compared to Pike's cabin. And Kirk's living in what basically looks like a Premier Inn, whereas Pike has got a suite. You know, what's going on here?
Well, you can't let canon get in the way of a good story, can you?
I think the answer is the Enterprise under Pike has a lot fewer crew on board, so they probably have much more space.
Well, I think
Kirk's here it's packed with more crew.
Forgetting about that, I mean, right before you even get the credits, okay, you get the line from Pike where he goes, "We've got a planet to save before breakfast," and he turns around to number one. And he goes, "I love this job. It's just brilliant. It's just." He's living the dream. He's absolutely living the dream, you know.
Also, when he says, "Smoke me a kipper, I'll be back for breakfast,"
he may as well have done.
Yeah,
you know, it's just fantastic. Yeah,
yeah. There is. It's like you said, Strange New Worlds just gets better and better. And that's something I've sort of found. It's episode 2 was really good. Episode 3 is even better. And
episode 3 is fucking awesome. It's
sorry, children.
We're not allowed to talk about it this week, but wow, yeah, it's just amazing. I just feel so. Do you know, it's not just that I'm enjoying it because I've been enjoying Picard, but watching Strange New Worlds, I felt really proud. Really proud to be a Star Trek fan again. Kind of a bit smug and kind of a bit like superior to be, because this is what Star Trek is about. You know, I really am feeling like, yeah, this is the Star Trek that I grew up with back again. This is why I got into Star Trek.
This is the high watermark again, isn't it?
Yeah, it's. I enjoyed Picard. Don't get me wrong, but it wasn't the Star Trek I grew up with. It was a different show. This isn't. This is a show that I grew up with. It's just fantastic.
Well, it's very much, you've got a bunch of professionals who get on with each other very well, who are all brilliant at their jobs on the Pride of the Federation's flagship, going out and exploring. Do you remember that line in, was it Nemesis, where, is it Nemesis or Insurrection, where Picard says, "Do you remember when we used to be explorers?"
Well, yeah, I mean, they're all very different as well.
What it was meant to be.
Yeah, I mean, the fact they're all very different. I mean, this is one of the things that even us as old men, you and I mean, Dan's quite a young, handsome chap compared to us, but us as old men, we were probably a bit too young to appreciate the massive deal it was having Chekhov on the bridge, having Sulu on the bridge. You know, that was a massive statement from Gene Roddenberry, the producers at the time. You know, having Uhura, on the bridge, not serving them drinks, having an important job was a massive thing.
That, Richard, but when I grew up watching that, I thought, well, isn't this normal? I mean, what's everyone making a big deal about? Isn't this what it should be?
Because that's the point. You and I were young enough for it probably not to be a big deal, and it normalized us. That was the point. That was representation done correctly. That was representation done the Star Trek way, done right. It's just amazing to see that reproduced now in a time where the planet needs it. It's fantastic. Proper in love with Star Trek again.
Now, one of the things I've seen a lot online is there is a core group of people who are hating Strange New Worlds because it's not. Oh, it should look like Kirk's Enterprise. My argument to this is going to be, you can't turn around to a studio and say, oh, do you know what, we want to make a show that looks like the 60s. These days, it's about viewership and it's about figures, and we need it to look slick and nice. So, like when Richard's just been saying about Pike's got a big, large quarters and stuff, well, yeah, absolutely, because that's what's expected these days,
Sorry, who's been saying that?
Online, there's several people sort of
Give me a name.
No, Richard. No, Vigilante did some. So yeah, I mean, I love what they've done with Strange New Worlds. I think it's really good. It's a great sort of take on Star Trek. And Richard said it then. The dress uniform looks immense,
doesn't it?
I really do.
Doesn't it look good?
Yeah,
it looks good.
Yeah.
To be honest, it reminds me more of a wetsuit, but I can see what you say.
Now, let's have a look. Christoph says, I wouldn't mind if they. Sorry, shall I read this out?
Christoph, you take that back.
I wouldn't mind if they introduce the ship dress next and change Pike's haircut. I mean, I know where you're coming from there, Chris, because there is a bit of something about Mary about that haircut. But I can't comment on haircuts.
Never can I, because I'm currently doing my Riker frame of mind look. So
it's real.
Yes, maybe that could be my cosplay for the next convention. I just look dogged and ragged and just sit.
That's my top 5 TNG episodes. I mean, we could do a whole show on our top 5 TNG episodes. But Frame of Mind is in my top 5. It's a fantastic episode. Love it.
Can we talk about George Samuel Kirk?
Or as I like to call him, Ted Lasso.
Or as I like to call him, Rock Ingersoll.
I mean, what do we think where are we going with this?
Well, I mean, firstly, lovely to see a moustache back in a starring role.
Yeah,
I mean, the best moustache prior to this is obviously Tom Selleck.
The shuttlecraft better be red and it better look like a Ferrari. But but where are we going with this mustachioed Kirk? What's the purpose of it? They've got to have a plan.
Well, we know what happens to him. He gets killed by a flying jellyfish on a colony world in Kirk's time.
Oh yes, we know how he ends up becoming a cropper.
He didn't appear in episode 3, did he? Although we're not talking about episode 3, I don't think he's in it.
No, he's not in it.
No. So he's kind of a background character, but nice to see that moustache. That's all I've got to say on it, really.
Do you think they've introduced him just because they want to keep acknowledge his existence, or what? Or do you think they're going to actually do it? Yeah, well, Carol, your intellect is as beautiful as your visage. But yeah, that's why you like Frame of Mind. It's a wonderful episode. But yeah, why do we? There must have something more to do with him.
It's obviously going to take us somewhere, isn't it? But who knows yet?
Do you think they might actually give us his demise? Do you think we might see him killed by a flying jellyfish?
Well, that happens in TOS, so no. I mean, that's going to be post-Pike, isn't it?
Yes. So we can't have a jump forward?
Well, we could, but why? Why? We know that's going to happen.
Because they look crap when they were on a fishing wire. We could have him killed a bit better, maybe.
So let's talk about season 2. And I think it was episode 2, because the trouble is I haven't slept a lot, so it might have been episode 3, and I apologize if it is. The end of the episode, when Pike is sitting there and he's bringing up the names of the children that he saves. And it's like, this person, this person, this person. And you can see how it's playing on him. And how Uhura, in this episode, the plot twist in it is that she's not sure if she wants to be in Starfleet and where she sees her future and stuff. I thought that was really well done, because I think one of the things is career-wise, a lot of people are always unsure about whether they've chosen the right career or something. And I thought that was actually handled really nicely.
It's true. I wish I'd been a lumberjack, leaping from tree to tree. The mighty Scots pine.
I think we have to be. If you know that you're going to die doing something, you've not die, but you know what's going to happen to you. You've got to have a reason. And we've already seen, we already know Pike's strength of character, but he has to have something to grip onto. So when he is like, yeah, this is why I'm doing it. I'm remembering their names. I'm remembering these are the kids I'm going to save. This is why I'm still out here. This is why I'm doing it. Okay, I've memorized the names. It's worth me. And I mean, who here can say, you know, they wouldn't do the same? I mean, we'd all go back out there. You'd have to, because you know these kids would die if you didn't save them. But yeah, you've got to have you can't just be righteous. You've got to have a bit of motivation. You've got to learn something about these kids and their families that's going to make you get back out there. I think it's fantastic.
True. Yeah, absolutely.
Here's an interesting thing. You know, this came out of Picard season 2. That they talk about butterflies, and if you go back in time and you change something very small, you can have enormous repercussions on the future. And the perspective point that flows from that is, but why don't people in the present think that a small thing now would enormously change the future?
Well, you're right. I'm quite small. I mean, I'm about 5'7", would you say? Give or take half an inch.
Your physical size does not belie your charisma.
Well, no. But my point is, I am quite small, yet I can have quite a huge impact on events. You know, I've impacted, similar to Sam Beckett. I've made massive impacts, and the size of. We're talking about different sizes here, aren't we? Yes. Okay. Here we go. Yeah.
Let me just see. Sam, you're doing.
If we're going to talk about things that showed about butterfly effects, the movie 12 Monkeys is well worth watch.
Yeah.
And
again, probably a better one would be the
butterfly effect.
The Year of Hell from Voyager, that shows that, you know, no matter how much you try and fix it and put right, you know, it's just too bloody hard.
Overall, people must have been hungry for a story of the week show. I sure have been. Strange New Worlds is the #1 streaming show in the US.
Well, it's interesting that CBS have refused to disclose figures for their crap Discovery show, but they're quite happy to tell everyone how wonderful Strange New Worlds is doing. That's interesting.
Wow. Yeah. So, yeah.
I wonder why do you think they might be doing that, James?
I don't know. I could merely speculate, but I'm not going to, because I'm not a betting man.
Dan, why do you think they're not releasing the viewing figures for the last season of Discovery?
I think it's more control on the fact that they've got Strange New Worlds is released purely through their platform, whereas you've got Discovery was released not only through their platform but through various viewing partners as well. So there may be.
Oh, you think general incompetence? They can't.
So I think there may be confidentiality and all the rest of it with other companies that they don't want that figure revealing for that reason. I think that might be more realistically the reason, to be honest.
Yes, now come on, Paramount Plus. You know, it really is a pain in the ass that the three of us have to fly to the United States every week to watch TV.
Look how tired I am.
Yeah, you know, I've got things to do. I've got a legal practice to run. I've got children to look after, and I have to fly to America every bloody week. Sort it out.
I'm not being funny. That mildew won't resolve itself in my bathroom, and I can't afford to pay someone to scrub it. You know, I can't do this every week. You know.
Yeah.
What's
no shit, man. You can't watch it outside the USA.
I mean,
yeah, Joe Biden's not doing very well in the polls over here because we can't vote for him.
What? I'm voting for him every year. What? It's counted for nothing.
My
Joe
question
Biden,
is
dear
this.
viewer, is the president of the United States of America, which is part of North America.
My question for you is this: would Strange New Worlds have been a better first release than Discovery?
Yes, God, yes. It's not even a
Do
question.
you,
Of course
do you
it would.
really need to ask us that, Dan?
No. Would you prefer to be Strange New?
Dan's asking. I did enjoy series. So
Yeah,
think
I
that
enjoyed
Dan's
season one.
asking-
I enjoyed season 1 and 2 of Discovery. So
Yeah, so did I. Yeah, but I think.
I mean, they
Was
were
it because I was-
satisfactory.
But was it because I was so desperate for some Star Trek? I think that's what Dan's asking.
Yeah.
I was so desperate for some Star Trek. I'd have taken James Corden in a wig.
Really? Really? Are we sinking that low?
I wanted some Star Trek. I was so desperate for some Star Trek. And Jason
Oh,
Isaacs.
can we just all thank our lucky stars James Corden is not the new Doctor?
I'm just glad that James Corden doesn't live in the United Kingdom. But the
So
point
bad
is,
news, Richard, he's coming back.
why?
I don't know.
didn't you get offered a vast amount of money to stay over there?
He's probably had
Well,
enough of living
America,
in the colony.
please do offer more money to James Corden and keep him on your side of the pond. You're welcome.
But either way, back to Dan's question. When Discovery was first released, we were all excited about it, and we all enjoyed season 1. Well, the first sort of 4 episodes we all really enjoyed, and Jason Isaacs was marvelous in it. And
wasn't he superb?
Very good.
There we go. I know I'd seen this. James Corden was offered £40 million, $50 million US by CBS to stay on for another 2 years as the host of the Late Late Show, and said no.
They like him in America. It's probably because of the accent. They quite like the British
£40
accent.
million.
Well, we could do it.
Well, we are
What time's it
available.
on? What time's the late show on? Because I'm normally in bed by 10.
But you're in bed by 10 UK time. If we were in the States, it would be earlier. Or would it be
what
later?
time
I
is it?
don't
Well,
know.
I could probably do it
this.
then. I mean, my people would have to talk to their people. But, I'm sure we could do it.
I'm sure we could come in cheaper than 40 million as well.
Oh.
I mean, how hard can it be? Here's my next guest.
Yeah, that is all he does, actually, isn't it?
You did come
Here's
across a little bit more Graham Norton than
stuff a
anybody.
scriptwriter has written for me.
Quick, let's have a whip it round. No, whip it round only happens in the north. This is where
I think
they
Gary's
race
offering us a
whip
plan
it
to
to see
keep
who's
James
going to
Corden
pay
in
for the next
in
round
America.
of bitter.
Some exciting news, boys. We are going to be getting sent some gin to review by a ginnery.
Is it Anno?
It is not Anno.
Oh,
James, shut up.
But no, we are going to be getting some gin sent by a ginnery to
This
review.
is real. We're being sponsored by a gin company.
Yes, a Star Trek
oh,
gin.
does this mean I have to bring back booze reviews for yous?
They sound more enthusiastic. They're probably watching right now, James.
Well, okay. I mean, which gin company is it? Because I did put feelers out to a gin company. I never heard from them.
Let me find the name of them. As you can tell, I've had a busy week. Short Cross Gin and Whiskey. So,
Oh, they do whiskey too. If they
Yeah.
want to send me the whiskey to review, I could happily do
Hang on.
that.
Where are they based?
England?
In the United Kingdom.
Yes, in the United Kingdom.
Well, which bit of the United Kingdom? This is important.
In the
Right.
south.
They're from Downpatrick.
Downpatrick.
Yes.
What the fuck is that?
That sounds a bit Irish to me.
It is a little bit Irish.
Okay, well, obviously,
it-
when the gin arrives, we'll appraise
So,
it.
James, you're Irish, so maybe you
It-
should take the lead on this.
It is. Let's have a look. It is Ireland. It is near Belfast, sort of.
Right.
Yeah, sort of near Belfast-ish.
Well, I, for one, would like to say how much I thoroughly enjoy the Irish gin industry, and I'm very much looking forward to sampling their Star Trek style
Inspired.
gin.
It's Star Trek inspired.
Yeah, Star Trek inspired
Well,
gin.
I'm a big fan of
and
everything the
whiskey.
Irish people do, and that's why I'm watching you, Voyager.
I'm very
with your
much hoping-
Fairhaven nonsense.
Yep, I'm hoping very much they bring out the Fairhaven tipple. I'm looking forward to trying that. The single malt Fairhaven would be a good one.
Oh,
Yeah,
Richard
well,
Gin. Oh, very good. Yes.
Bring back Let's Talk Trek. We're still here.
Hello.
I think we've been talking about some of our
Yeah.
normal features. Yes, we're returning with features.
Yeah.
This week it's just been a lot going
You
on.
say that. I mean, we haven't done a wish trip in weeks because every time I submit it, you never play it. So I've given up.
Because you submit it 5 seconds before we go on air.
Oh yes, has anyone got this wish clip?
But the
What
point
wish clip?
is, we don't.
I've sent it repeatedly for weeks. I just can't be asked anymore.
Stop bickering, Whizbits. Now, the issue is we came up with all these funny features like choose your choose and wish and drink your drink and all this because we had no Star Trek to talk about. We've got so much Star Trek talk. Do you really, viewer, do you want us to bring back all these nonsense features or do you want us to talk about Star Trek? I mean, seriously, it's up to you. If you want us to bring back the nonsense, we can do. We'd much rather talk about, I'd rather talk about Star Trek.
Oh, can we bring back Blankety Blank? That was great fun.
That was brilliant fun, wasn't it? That was. We have a Discovery theme, Blankety Blank. Guess your gender.
Crowdfund booze review on Trekkie girls. What? I don't understand.
Apparently, they'd like to have features and talk about Star Trek. This is what we want.
Well, Richard and I can very easily just be in the same room drinking a lot and talking about Star Trek. I mean, we do that anyway.
Yeah, absolutely.
We're very good at that. We do it in public places.
I mean, we were going to go, weren't we, for breakfast yesterday, Richard, until the present Mrs. Dillon thwarted the plan by driving off and taking the car seat with her.
Oh, yes.
Meaning I was unable to transport the children.
Yeah, well, these things happen. You just have to roll with the punches, James.
So, as we have been talking Strange New Worlds, I thought it might be fun to rewatch the Strange New Worlds trailer. And for those people who haven't watched it, just to get them in the mood. So I'm going to press play on that one.
Roll
James?
VT.
Hi. Sorry to interrupt. This is your captain? Our mission. To chart the stars. Push the boundaries of what is known. And what is possible.
I'm standing on the surface of a comet.
I love this job.
These people, this crew, I believe we can do anything.
You wanted to seek out new life. Go where the aliens are.
Your presence is blasphemy.
Let's talk about this. Find some
I think that went well.
Perhaps we should kiss.
That seems logical.
Maybe we don't touch anything else. Just a suggestion.
The whole future hangs in the balance.
No one can know the future. One can only follow one's instincts.
You're the best of Starfleet. Our ability to work together, that's our greatest strength. Let's show them what you got.
The production values there are fantastic. I mean, it looks fantastic. It just looks amazing. But can we talk about the job they've done of the opening sequence? I mean, they're basically taken the original score, they put it into a A minor seventh, and and come up with a new melody that blends with it perfectly. It's just everything about this show. Everything about this show. And if you haven't seen episode 3 yet,
Do you know what the interesting thing watching that trailer is? 90% of that trailer is episodes 1 and 2,
yeah.
which
And
says
I
to me
love
that
that.
the best is still to come.
Yeah, I have no doubt about it. I think they've realised what people want. And as I say, I've enjoyed Picard, but it was the middle was a bit of filler. But on the whole, I've enjoyed Picard, but it didn't feel like Star Trek. It felt like something else. This feels like Star Trek again. It's just so good to watch. Yes, isn't it just? I mean, I watch it and I go, yes, that's what I want. Thank you very much.
Do you remember, Richard, that wonderful evening we had where we watched the finale of Picard, and then the premiere of Strange New Worlds, and drinks was taken, and everything was brilliant.
Oh, it was one of the best evenings ever. I'm so glad I got to share it with you, James, because it was just a marvelous.
And then we played some blackjack, and it was great.
Yeah. And do you remember those female hookers?
And on that happy thought, that is more or less our hour done. Next week we'll return with more frivolity. There will be some more new features. Well, old features resurrected, I think. We'll talk Star Trek. We're going to be talking episode 3 of Strange New Worlds. So it gives us a week to rewatch it. And if you haven't seen this week's one, episode 3, it's amazing.
It's true. I watched it again while sober, and I really enjoyed it again.
Yes. And if you have seen it, and Richard hasn't seen the film, and I gave him the reference, he had no idea. Does it not remind you a little bit of Serenity?
This is the Joss Whedon.
Yes.
The Joss Whedon Firefly film.
Civilization. Ooh.
Is this the Joss Whedon Firefly?
I see where you're going with that, but no.
I got a very Serenity feeling from it. So.
Of course, Firefly, one of the best TV series of all time, that was ridiculously cancelled.
Well, it's turned out Joss Whedon apparently is a bit of a tool, so you're not allowed to like his work anymore.
Oh, really? Vicky, here's one for you. How do reavers clean their spears? They run them through the wash.
Still too soon. You say this, but Buffy is an amazing piece of work.
Have you guys there's been a lot of kind of stuff about the Buffy series, but have you guys seen the original Buffy the Vampire film?
Yes, with Christy Swanson.
Yeah, I mean, so I know the guy's meant to be a bit of a handsy tool, but he's made some good telly and he's made some good films. You know, his work on the Avengers was superb.
What, with John Steed and Mrs. Peel?
No, the other one with Iron Man.
They're the Avengers. Who are the other Avengers?
Avengers Assemble.
The new Avengers.
Oh, they're not the Avengers.
Oh, Joanne Lumley.
Anyway.
So I got to stay on the same boat as Joanne Lumley.
Did you?
True story, yeah. On a Nile cruise. It was amazing.
Ooh.
We went to
Did she walk
Aswan
around going,
Temple.
lovely.
She did say a lot of things were lovely. Yeah.
Gary said,
No, they weren't just lovely. They were just lovely.
Gary said, was there a master control panel in engineering? Did you spot it, James?
No. They have these sort of diagonally on panels everywhere. I didn't see a master situation display.
Do you mean in the season 3 episode? Do you mean
this is what a master situation display should look like? Oh, look at that!
So that's it for this week. We will see you again soon. Thank you so much for watching.
It's good night from me,
and it's good night from him.
Au revoir.